Hello everyone to Hindustan Times. My name is Rasesh Mandani. We are at 2 cricket questions. Now recently the governing body of cricket, the ICC, announced its own cricket calendar, the World Cup calendar of cricket for the rest of the decade. And there's going to be an ICC event, a world event every year from now. Now this is going to have ramifications on how cricket is going to be played or structured for the rest of the decade. Which brings us to our first cricket question. Has the ICC managed to keep the rise of franchise cricket in check? Now, why do we say that? Now, if you look at it, the ICC is not necessarily commercially competing with the other cricket boards. It is a body made up of cricket boards. But the catch is, not every cricket board is relying upon the revenue that ICC generates and the share that they get out of it. But the smaller cricket boards are, the richer cricket boards are not. And so the richer cricket boards, the likes of the India, England, Australia, they were resisting the ICC move to have an ICC event every year. Now, the other view of the ICC having more events, having more World Cups annually, cyclically, and that revenue being distributed has prevailed. So this is how the cricket calendar is going to be like as far as the ICC events is concerned. Now, we of course have the T20 World Cup this year. There's going to be another T20 World Cup in 2022, and then in the next calendar there will be T20 World Cup every 2 years. There are also going to be 2 ODI World Cups in the next cycle. So there's one in 23, there's one in 27, one in 31, and there's also going to be 2 Champions Trophies. The announcement of the return of the Mini World Cup, which is also going to be a 50 overs format competition. So world events of limited overs nature are going to continue to play a prominent role, and so by making this announcement, the ICC has been able to structure a well-designed ICC event cycle of its own, which is going to be an attractive property to buy for the broadcasters. Now this is where the commercial clashes come in, because if you look at it, look at the amount of space that these ICC events take away. The T20 World Cup, for example, is going to be an expanded one with 20 teams participating. So that's going to take away about 45 days or so of every year. Then the ODI World Cup is also going to be an expanded competition with more teams playing, and that will take away about 45 days of the calendar every year it is played. The Champions Trophy is more of an elite competition with only 8 teams participating. So that takes away about 20 days every year a Champions Trophy is played. And then you add a week of travel and practice as well to those competitions. Now, if you look at what the individual cricket boards want, the individual cricket boards have of course got attractive deals. Some of them, at least the richer ones, have got as far as bilateral cricket is concerned. And what they're not saying is, one of the reasons they do not want an ICC competition or did not want an ICC competition every year is because they wanted their T20 franchise leagues to do well, and some of them wanting to expand that as well. IAPL has obviously made it public now. So this is how the franchise league calendar looks like. Look at the IPL, for example. It takes away 50 days of the cricket calendar every year, where every other cricket stops and the best of T20 participants compete in the IPL. If it expands and becomes a 10-team IPL, then we'll add 2 more weeks, perhaps 3 more weeks to the cricket calendar, and so the best of talent is taken away for that time as well. Now that expansion plan is also need to be well crafted now, because remember, there's an ICC event every year, and so you need to look at the commercial realities in that sense as well. Now look at the other leagues, for example. The Big Bash is not as commercially attractive, but it is a fairly long league, so that takes away about 60 days of the calendar. Then the other competitive leagues, CPL, PSL, the West Indies and the Pakistan leagues, they take away some time as well. And then there are the smaller leagues, the Bangladesh Premier League, then the Lanka Premier League, and then the T10 League. All of these leagues attract international cricketers in their own right. And then the England Cricket Board is beginning with the 100 this year, which is going to be a very interesting competition, and that is going to look to ultimately expand as well. So if you add all of that up, that takes away more than 200 days of the cricket calendar. Now obviously every cricketer does not participate in that, but there is a stream of T20 franchise cricketers, as we know, who look to participate in as many of these competitions as possible. They do not have contracts with their individual cricket boards. But the larger point being, each of these competitions, if the cricket boards, the concerned cricket boards, are looking to expand, well, they will have to keep those expansion plans in check or look at them very closely, because now the ICC has declared that they are going to have a world event of their own every year. And so there are multiple clashes of interest here. The commercial one being there are only limited broadcasters. For example, that if you look at the Indian cricket landscape, the three biggest rights, the ICC rights, the IPL rights, the BCCI broadcast, the bilateral cricket rights, all of them are with Star at the moment. The only major competing entity with them is Sony. So now when all these rights come up for renewal, perhaps one of the two will buy them. But with the ICC property being so attractive now, the world event being well structured, and obviously it gets a lot of viewership as well. Everyone wants to see India win the World Cup, and so that's an attractive package. If the broadcasters is going to put aside a good sum of money for that, then that may impact the money that they push for as far as the IPL rights are concerned, and particularly the bilateral rights are concerned. So there may be some correction on that front. So in that sense, there is this perennial clash of interest as far as window is concerned, as far as broadcasting value is concerned. So in some ways, the ICC has sent a message across to the cricket world that for now, cricket will continue to be prominently a nation versus nation sport, and it is not yet ready to go the football way, where league sport takes away more time and is more attractive than the international friendlies that we see on the football pitch. And as far as cricket is concerned, these nation versus nation competitions, whether it's bilateral marquee cricket or these world events which we call the ICC events, the T20 World Cup, the ODI World Cup, the Champions Trophy, will continue to have a prominent space in terms of money and the calendar as well. So in that sense, if some of these cricket boards are looking to expand and have more T20 league cricket, that has in some ways been arrested by the ICC by coming through with this ICC event every year formula. So our second cricket question is around cricket in England. If you have noticed, if any cricket that is happening at the moment, most of it is being played in England. So England has found this winning formula of creating these biobubble environments, which are fairly foolproof on the evidence of it, and so many countries are being hosted by England simultaneously at this point in time. So if you look at it, the ongoing test match between New Zealand and England is being played at Birmingham. So there's a bubble created for New Zealand team. Then it's going to be followed by the World Test Championship final between India and New Zealand. That would be played at Southampton. So separate bubble created for the Indian team. Then of course India is going to go on and play 5 test matches of its own in England. Before that, in fact at this point in time, the Sri Lankan team is in England because they're going to be soon playing a limited over series in England, so a separate bio bubble for them. Soon the Pakistan team after that would be arriving, so they would be another bubble for them. There is of course women's cricket that is happening at the moment. Soon there's going to be a test match between Indian women and English women, so there is another bubble for them. So in some ways the English Cricket Board have become the masters of these biosecure environments where the virus is struggling to sneak in, which is fantastic news. Remember, they were the first off the mark last year when cricket had come to a halt with the pandemic, and they were the first cricket board to get off the mark and invite West Indies, followed by Pakistan, and those were of course without crowds. Now fortunately, from the English point of view, we come to a situation where they're having impressive crowds in the ongoing test match as well, and hopefully we'll continue to see crowds as well. So full marks to England to be able to create this environment through the pandemic phase where cricket can continue to be played, because remember, there have been other cricket boards who've tried and struggled. The PSL had to be called off midway once the virus entered their bubble. The IPL this year, as we know, had to be called off, suspended midway once the virus entered 4 franchise bubbles. And then of course the English tour of South Africa also came to a premature halt when things did not go to plan. So as far as that bit is concerned, the praise of origin of cricket, England finding a way to stage cricket safely in this pandemic. That's it for now. Do keep watching 2 Cricket Questions and do send in your comments as well.